Can the Detroit Lions make history and restore the roar in 2023 by winning a division championship? Find out in this Detroit Lions outlook of the 2023 season.
ATL Jacob, ATL Jacob.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cut to the Chase Sports Podcast, where we bring unique insight analysis behind your favorite teams at the collegiate and professional levels. I'm your host, Chase Jontz, and we're going to continue this series talking about the Detroit Lions as we go through the NFC North. The Lions were a team that came off of a 9-8 season. They started off 1-6 in 2022. Were able to rally it back on the back half of the schedule, finishing 8-2. They were led by Jared Goff and a very energized Lions team. The Lions 2022 season was a success. They finished 9-8. They didn't make the playoffs though, but they ended up coming back from starting 1-6 and going 8-2 in their final 10 games, and to knock off the Green Bay Packers in Week 18. They were in contention until that point. Just the Seattle Seahawks hit a game-winning field goal in overtime over the Los Angeles Rams. The Lions were an exciting team last year. They had one of the best offenses in the National Football League. Their defense is very, very young. They had to overcome some strides and some tribulations that went on, but they have a lot of young talent and promise. That team was a very fun team to watch, and with what they've added this season, it's only going to make things even better. Detroit had a really strong free agency period in 2023. They went out and they added Marvin Jones back to the roster, who was on the Detroit Lions for about 5 years. They went out and got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the big pickup from Philadelphia, on a 1-year deal. Picked up David Montgomery from the division rival Chicago Bears, and went out and got Emmanuel Mosley from the Niners and Cam Sutton from the Steelers, trying to bulk up that cornerback room of theirs in secondary. So they did a lot of good things on the back end to try to help that defense out, a very young defense to say the least, and on offense, getting a running back and receiver for depth and veteranship. So, I mean, it'll be nice to see what Detroit can do in there. On the contrary, they ended up losing Jamal Williams to the New Orleans Saints. He had a great season last year, led the league in rushing touchdowns with 17. They lost Mike Hughes to Atlanta and Chris Board to the New England Patriots. Not a whole lot of losses. Lions added 2 running backs, one in the draft and one in free agency, and they lost 2 running backs, one by trade and one in free agency. DeAndre Swift got traded on draft day to the Philadelphia Eagles, and Jamal Williams signed with the New Orleans Saints. They just decided to rotate backfields and see what happens there. Mike Hughes, the cornerback, goes to Atlanta. Chris Board goes to New England. A lot more gained by Detroit than lost, but still, new faces will be behind the stout offensive line that they have. Speaking of the Lions' offensive line, they're built for tough. The run game averaged 128 yards per game last season, led by the guys up front as the list goes. Left tackle Taylor Decker, left guard Jonah Jackson, center Frank Ragnow, right guard, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, but Halapula Vatatai. I don't even know, but that's a handful, tongue twister, whatever you want to call it. And then right tackle Penei Sewell, who was drafted in 2021, has held it down for the Lions. The run game, obviously inserting 2 new running backs in there. Jahmyr Gibbs, the first-round selection, pick 12 out of Alabama, looks to be potentially the day 1 starter. David Montgomery's been in the league for quite a while, knows the ropes, was in a power run scheme in Chicago, so he should fit right in with Detroit's mantra. And then you look at the passing game. Jared Goff had probably one of the best seasons he's had in his career. He had 65% completion percentage, 4,438 yards passing, 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and just finished a hair below 100 passer rating at 99.3. He was fantastic last season. Home games, great. Road games, somewhat pedestrian. You didn't know what you were going to get with those. But whenever he was at home, as most quarterbacks are, he was very, very comfortable. This Detroit offense is scary. Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator, had a lot of different opportunities to go and be a head coach somewhere, but he decided to come back and stay with this unit and see them grow and try to make the playoffs. Great choice by him. They were the fourth best offense in the National Football League, averaging right around 380 yards per game. They averaged 26.6 points a game. They were just fireworks all over the place. They could run the ball. They could throw the ball. They could beat you in every which way. The scheming was perfect. Actually, it wasn't perfect, but it was really, really good. A lot of other stuff that they could build off of. But this Detroit offense is electric. And also, Jameson Williams, that's a big name to look out for. He's suspended for the first 6 games of the season, but we've heard reports that Jameson Williams has come a long way from last year when he came in rookie camp. Obviously, he had the torn ACL from Alabama, but he's made some strides as a player mentally and obviously physically. So watch out for Jameson Williams coming in when he comes back from suspension in Week 7. Defensively, the Lions had to get better in about every aspect possible. They drafted Aiden Hutchinson in 2022 with the second pick overall. We'll talk about him in just a second. They got to get guys around him. Isaiah Buggs coming in. John Kaminsky had 4 sacks last season. Their linebackers were a bit of a weakness, but Alex Anzalone had a good season, 125 tackles, a sack and a half, an interception. Malcolm Rodriguez, 87 tackles. But then you add the man in the middle from the draft, pick 18, Jack Campbell from Iowa. The man is a big, strong, physical, downhill linebacker who you'd love to have be the quarterback of the defense, and that's exactly what the Detroit Lions did when they were making this pick at 18. He should be a plug-and-play guy immediately, day one starter. Cannot wait to see what Jack Campbell can do for the Detroit Lions. I think their defense is going to make the necessary strides, and he is going to be an instant commodity in this defense. But for last year's first-round pick, Aiden Hutchinson, man, did he have a great season. 52 tackles, 9.5 sacks, 3 interceptions as a defensive end. This guy, 6'7", 264 pounds, 22 years old. You don't want to see him on an island at all. And that's what most guys are going to see. Right tackles are going to see him the most. Front side pressure. Good luck stopping him because he is willed, determined to get after the quarterback. There's a lot of pass rushers in the National Football League that, I just want to get sacks and I want to beat my man one-on-one. He's pretty good in the run game too. He's not afraid to go inside and move them around, move them around at maybe a defensive tackle and stuff like that and try to get some new looks. Not afraid at all. So, Aiden Hutchinson, I cannot wait. Again, this Lions team has a whole lot of optimism, so I can't wait to see the whole thing. But Aiden Hutchinson, 9.5 sacks as a rookie, he should be pushing for about 13 sacks this season and really putting pressure on the quarterback and trying to help out his new teammates on the back end in the secondary. You want to talk about a new motor vehicle in Detroit? Let's talk about the secondary. This is a completely revamped unit. Emmanuel Mosley from the San Francisco 49ers comes over after having 22 tackles and an interception and 5 passes defended in 5 games last season. He had a season-ending injury, hoping to get back this season and stay healthy. Kirby Joseph, 82 tackles, 4 interceptions, 3 of those which were on Aaron Rodgers, and actually the last interception of Aaron Rodgers' Packers career was Kirby Joseph on Sunday Night Football. He had 8 passes defended as a safety. Tracy Walker, the free safety, 20 tackles, 1 pass defended in 3 games. He got hurt. Hopefully he's going to come back strong and healthy. And then Cam Sutton from the Pittsburgh Steelers, 43 tackles, 3 interceptions, 15 passes defended. So they bring over a lot of knowledge from the Pittsburgh Steelers scheme when it comes to playing aggressive as defensive backs. But quite honestly, the biggest ad of the offseason, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson of the Philadelphia Eagles, 67 tackles, 6 interceptions, 8 passes defensed. You could play him at corner. You could play him at safety, nickel, linebacker even. He is the ultimate chess piece of the defense, and he is going to wreak havoc on opposing teams' receivers and running backs. The Lions got some primetime love this year for the first time in forever, honestly. They got the opening night game against the Chiefs. We'll talk about that in just a second. They play a Thursday night football game against the Green Bay Packers on Amazon Prime. Then they'll take on the Las Vegas Raiders Monday Night Football Week 8. Welcome in Devontae Adams and company. They will play their Thanksgiving game, their normal Thanksgiving game. It's the Green Bay Packers. They'll play them twice on Thursday this year. I don't think that's ever happened in league history. Pretty sure I said that in the last video. And then they play the Dallas Cowboys Week 17 on Saturday night, ABC, ESPN. That's technically the Monday Night Football game that week due to the fact that the NFL plays on New Year's Eve, and then New Year's Day is going to be the New Year's Six Bowls and college football playoff games. So Detroit, 4 primetime games, more than normal, more than recent history. Their week 1 opponent, the champion Kansas City Chiefs. Whew, they got a lot on their plate. But Kansas City has a lot on their plate as well, taking on this ferocious Lions team. This game could have tons of points. Detroit, they got to come out strong. Ben Johnson needs to have a great plan. Jared Goff has got to be firing all cylinders. They got to be loose, have fun, and play without any balls. So you look at this, Detroit and KC, Mahomes is a great quarterback, and Travis Kelce, the best tight end in the NFL. Their defense, new look, revamped. They're going to try to do whatever they can to stop Travis Kelce. The receiving core of the Chiefs isn't bad. It obviously shows. But, you know, I look at this and I'm like, Detroit, I mean, this is the opportunity for them to really establish themselves at the start of the season for the first time ever that we've seen in our lifetime, in my lifetime at least. Detroit's got a huge opportunity right out of the gate. When talking about the Detroit Lions' record this year, they finished 9-8 last season. I think they're going to add about one more win to their win total, and I think they're going to finish 10-7. They've never won the NFC North. Actually, when you talk about the NFC Central, the Bucs won this division more recently than the Detroit Lions have. The Lions haven't won their division in over 30 years. I think that's going to change this season, as the Detroit Lions will win the division at 10-7 and will be one of the top 4 seeds in the playoffs. They're in for a great season, and I cannot wait to see what the Motor City is going to do.